Welcome. It's Joe here, Perfect Partners Equine. Penny's here with me too, so we're going to voice over this.
Hello, everybody. We're glad to have you.
Well, let's introduce you to Tucker. So, this is Tucker's first day in the round pen. Now, Tucker's an 8-year-old quarter horse. He's been ridden. He's had plenty of riding time. I don't know how much actual training he's had, but everything in Tucker's world has been done to him.
And Tucker is new to his current owner. That's kind of a new relationship. So we've got him here with us, getting him ready and, going over him real good and finding out what he needs so that hopefully they can have a great start to their summer.
So we've had Tucker in the barn for a couple days, just to kind of evaluate, see how he is. And what we've noticed is Tucker does not know how to really communicate or make the horse-human connection. Now, we know how to make the human-horse connection, but they have to be a willing partner also. So every time I go to approach Tucker, he's always looking past me. He's looking past his human. He's looking elsewhere, out the stall, out the round pen. He never looks at you. So, and when you go to make contact with him or to touch him or get him to come to you and touch your hand with his nose, investigates you, he immediately goes past you and looks past you. And when you go to touch his forehead or his shoulder, he moves away from you. He wants to be close to you, but he doesn't know how to interact. Okay? So what I'm doing here is I'm putting, I guess, rhythmic energy in front of him as he brings up his energy. Now, he's not afraid. He's not running around, but he's looking all over the place. He can't put his attention on me. So my goal here is to put extra pressure in the area around him till he looks at me or he relaxes or drops his head. So as you keep watching, you'll see him begin to drop his head. So my goal here is to spank the ground pretty hard, put a fair amount of rhythm on. Wherever he looks, that's the side I kind of put more energy into. So if he looks to his right, I put more energy over there. If he looks to his left, I put more energy over there. My goal is not to hit him, touch him, because I need him to be confident and comfortable with my tools. So that's my very first thing here. Is he comfortable with my tools? And obviously he's not. And he's not comfortable with the rhythmic energy.
So you're trying to kind of like be bigger than whatever it is he's looking at. You're trying to grab his attention, whatever it takes, however big you have to get.
However big I have to get. So that's it. That is it in a nutshell. I want to be bigger. I want to be more important or more interesting than what's going on everywhere else, because that's where his focus and his attention goes, is everywhere else, not to me. So my goal is to put a lot of pressure on him in his vicinity and let him figure out that he has control over that stick and strain. And how he has control over it is if he looks at me or relaxes and lowers his head. Then I'll reduce the amount of pressure, the rhythm, how hard I'm smacking the ground, in conjunction with him looking at me or relaxing. Now there I walked up, he lowered his head, so I walked up to put my hand on his forehead, and that's exactly what we're seeing in the stall. He can't handle that pressure, or he doesn't see that there's any value in having a relationship with the person, with the human.
He's trying to be kind of obedient
to a
point.
But he doesn't know
how. Not connected.
That's it, but he doesn't know how.
I mean, he knows the people, I think, have the food. Like, he knows you're going to feed him at feeding time. So he's looking for you. But like you say here, he gets very disconnected when it comes to just one-on-one.
So what I'm doing is putting pressure on him swinging the stick and string over him, let the string like softly fall on him, and then release, but keep going. If he wants to elevate his emotion, I elevate mine. If he wants to lower his emotion, I lower the stick and string, the energy in it. I'm trying to teach him, one, how to learn, and two, how to be with people. So we can do this and send him around and have him run around the round pen, but all it does is create more and more energy and lets them feel like they're escaping. I don't want him to feel like he's escaping. I want him to feel like he has control over me. So he relaxed, and I lowered myself down as far as I could go.
There he went doing his head again.
But
yep.
Still, he hasn't.
Looked away.
Yeah, he still hasn't figured out he has control over me.
So there you disengaged his hindquarters a little bit to try to get his attention.
Right.
He was looking the other way.
So we need him to try to make the connection with us. I'm offering him all kinds of opportunities to make the connection, but he either doesn't see value in it, or doesn't know how, or is afraid to.
And you're looking for two eyes. You want the eyes to make the connection, right? Maybe,
I'm looking.
It's the eyes. He's got to be looking at you to be connected with you. So that's how you know. Even if his head's in your direction and he's looking somewhere else, he's not connected, right?
Right. Wherever he's looking, that's where his focus goes. Now, I also want to keep him from going to his little happy place. He's been taught to tolerate things. And in my opinion, that's the worst thing you can do for your horse.
But it's a very common thing that trainers do. I mean, and a lot of them call it desensitizing, but there's different ways of desensitizing horses.
Yeah.
So
I don't want him to tolerate it. I want him to be involved with it and learn to relax with it, be comfortable with it, not tolerate it. Because there's a point where they can't tolerate it anymore. And that's when they're emotionally and physically leave you.
Well, and just like a little bit ago when you said you didn't want him to feel like he was escaping you, but you also don't want to feel like he's being trapped either.
Right.
So you're not holding him.
I'm giving him every opportunity to leave. Now, if he moves his feet, I'll go with him and keep going till he stops moving his feet and tries to relax. But right here, I'm just slowing down. I'm slowing down. You can watch my rhythm slow down as he brings his head down and lowers his head and keeps his focus on me. Till he really looks at me, that's when you'll see me stop and try to come. And it keeps getting a little bit better, but there he goes. He had to move away.
It's too much.
Yeah, it's too much. So I said, okay. So maybe let's now try moving his hindquarters over, disengaging his hind end. But as he gets more and more relaxed, he sees that this is not something to worry about or be afraid of. Because in his world, that's what he's worried about. What's going to happen to me? What do I have to do? What does this mean? So I have to teach him what all this means. And in a lot of our clinics, you'll hear me talk, well, first you go with the horse, then you get the horse to go with you. So that's what I'm trying to build up here to show him, to teach him, one, how to learn, and to two, that he is safe and he can go with me because I'll go with him. So now I'm just trying to get him used to my tools. Flicking the stick and string around him, flicking the rope over his head and neck. And in a minute here, you'll see me kind of flip it up over his ears because he was really, really worried. Anything that got up around the top of his head and his poll. There he goes. So I have to keep doing that. I have to do that enough till he releases the tension and realizes it's not being done to him to hurt him.
And you're not hitting him, you're just letting it sort of flop around
Yeah.
on his head.
Yeah. I haven't, I haven't, I
Which, if you
haven't,
were on the trail, that could be a tree limb or branch that you go under. So you don't want them to react if you can help it, or at least if they react, they think, "Oh, heck, that ain't
yeah.
nothing," you know.
I'm trying to be as soft and as easy as possible with him because he is so worried about things. So, at this point in time, if we did too much too fast, or I made a mistake and hit him a little harder than I wanted to, because it happens, I would just go on like it didn't happen. Like, oops. I want him to think, that old Joe, he's sometimes kind of clumsy.
Because they read your intentions, so they know whether it was by accident or on purpose, you know. And if you don't make a big deal over it, they don't make a big deal over it.
And that's it in a nutshell. So, as you can see, he's really beginning to buy into it and realize that things are okay. It's not being done to him. And it's not something he has to worry about. And what I'm going to do is work into setting parameters. Can you walk and follow along with me? Can you follow my hand? Now my rope hand will be my rein hand. I want to lead him and give him a clear direction, and I'll support it with my stick and string. Now his emotions have come up, so I came up. And when he lowers, I'll lower. And if he needs to feel like he needs to move his feet, I'll allow him to move his feet as much as he does, as he needs to find a place to relax. And when he stops moving his feet, if you notice, I kind of slow my tempo down. I don't smack the ground as hard. I relax and hope that he learns how to relax, he can control me by relaxing, so that he has a say in this. He has a little input, and that's not being done to him, it's being done with him. There he goes. He lowered his head.
That's good.
He lowered his head, so I quit, and I lowered my head. I relaxed too. So, and when I do this, I also breathe out real big. I try to want to get him to realize that if he relaxes, I relax. And
he bent to you, but I see he still had to kind of drift away there.
But his head's
it's
lower.
Getting better.
It's getting a little bit better each time. He feels like he has to take his head away, but he's still trying. This horse is trying really hard. He's beginning to see the benefit in his relaxation, that he can control me by relaxing. Now, just doing it one day, it's not enough to really instill this in him. But the more you do it, the more they'll understand, and the more they'll look to do it to be with you. So I think this is where I start working. I'm like, okay, I've got you. Here you go. Can you go this way? Follow my hand. Now, it's really pretty cold out.
And it was windy, too.
That's why we're having the voiceover. And all I'm waiting for is him to figure out to move away from the pressure. So if he looks that way, that's great. I think he's made it through. Now, the next time I held my hand out, he moved his foot. Now, the next time he moved another foot. Now, I'm going to start all over again. There we go. And each time he moved or looked in the direction I wanted him to go, I released him, then started all over again. Still, he won't let me put my hand up there to rub his forehead. So, okay, we're going to go back the other way. So, I usually do this where I pretend like I'm riding from the ground. I get clear direction. Can you go left? Can you go right? And then as I get him going forward, I rest my stick in the middle of his back where the saddle would be.
And you did it there just when he looked in that direction.
Yep.
You had to find a place to start.
You got to find a place to start. There we go. He's beginning to understand. So my stick's in the middle of his back, and I'm kind of rubbing him. You hold his hindquarters, change direction. I just want him to figure out he can follow the feel of the rope, follow the intent that rhythmic energy has purpose. So now I'm putting the rhythmic energy to purpose to get him to move, not just to stand still. So it's also reading my intent. So if you'll notice a 1, 2, 3 tap, 1, 2, 3 tap. He's still busy looking everywhere else, and that's okay, but he's not as emotional as he was when we came in. So he's learning how to learn, and it's a process. It takes a little bit of time. I'm going to change directions. Can you go to my left? There he is. He made it through, so I'm going to quit. Now start over again. Can you go this way? Well, that time he moved his foot. So all I'm trying to do is get direction, because this horse really didn't know how to lead. He was trying to. It was kind of like dragging a crackhead off to rehab. He didn't want to go. He walked 10 feet behind you, and anything you did, he took offense to. So I got to teach him how to lead. So this is kind of what I'm doing here, is teaching him it's okay not to be afraid of my tools, which is where we have to start. And can you follow a feel? Not worry about rhythmic energy, but follow it, move away from it. Because remember, with prey animals, they learn their innate instinct. They learn from their mother how to push into pressure. That's how they move and get away from danger. If something was to grab them, they'd have to push into that pressure to get away from it. So now I'm teaching him a whole new concept of move away from pressure. And in a couple minutes here, we'll start getting working towards getting him to go with me, teaching him that I'll go with him, because first you go with the horse, then the horse goes with you, then you go together. So that's kind of what I'm trying to work on here with him. Can you just go, move, and then I'll go with you. I'm going to work into matching his front foot steps with my footsteps. So I'm going to try to match him. Let him realize that I'm going with him. Because if you see horses at work that are out together in a herd situation, they all kind of mirror each other. If one runs, they all run, but they move like a school of fish. They're mirroring each other. So this is one of their instincts. So if he feels like I'm mirroring him, he'll realize that I'm trying to make a connection. I'm trying to understand him, and then he'll put effort into trying to understand me. And this whole session is just about helping him make a connection with me.
Very good. I mean, I think it's great. I mean, I see exactly what you're doing. It's fantastic. And that's it. They can disconnect quickly, but it's our job to reconnect quickly. Even when they do. Doesn't mean that you're bad when they do disconnect. It just means you need to get to work. It's time to go to work and get them back hooked with you. Because this transfers to the saddle. You don't want to lose that connection when you're riding, because that's when things can get really dangerous. So, but I think he's doing great. He's starting to really kind of come along.
Well, we've got a lot done without a lot of running around or flailing around or chasing him or zooming around the round pen. I want to go in the round pen. I want I want it to keep it calm, relaxed. On another video, you'll see I kind of play with him in a little different way to help him get through, make a connection. But that's for another video. Because right now, I need him to want to put effort in to being my pal. I want him to see that I'm trying to be with him so that he sees me as something of value. Now with the stick and string, I'm trying to create boundaries. Don't walk past it and come along and go with me. So the stick in the middle of his back is the neutral zone. So when he's going slow, I move it back to his hip. Okay, can you go forward? And then I move it up over his head and say, can you back up with me? Now this does a lot of things. There's movement around him. I'm working out of his right eye, which he did not want anybody on his right side. And it moves things up and over his head in front of him. So he's seeing something pass his eye. So I'm getting a lot of different things done, getting him desensitized in a way that he's moving his feet, but he sees it and he's not taking offense to it or seeing it as a threat. He's seeing it as boundaries.
Because you're just kind of using your stick as an extension of a long arm.
As a long arm.
You'd put your arm on somebody's shoulder to tell them to come along, go with you, and you'd put your arm out in front of them to block them from falling down the steps or going forward. So yeah, it's just you're not using it as a weapon.
Yeah, it's not a weapon. He might have perceived it as such in the very beginning, but now he's beginning to see it as something that's not to be feared, because they cannot be afraid of our tools. Now, just because he's not afraid of my tools today doesn't mean it won't be tomorrow. So I always have to check that out. But as he's going along, now I'll try to shift eyes, work on the other side a little bit. But I can't teach him much until he's focused with me. Now, so many times, I see people go to lead their horse and they just walk off without him and hope that the horse kind of follows them along. But I need to be omnipresent with him. I need to know exactly where he is and what he's doing at all time and support him. If I emotionally dump him or drop him off, he knows that instantly. And then he feels like, you left me. So I'm trying to show him that I will be here with him, and all he has to do is go along with me.
He's much more relaxed.
That's the whole goal, is move and work him into relaxation. Now he's allowing me to walk up and pet him, and he's dropping his head, and he realizes that's not a bad thing. That's the whole goal for this one session, is just to get him to relax, teach him how to learn, teach him that he's got a say in what's going on, and that a human can be of some importance and be of value to him.
And you're opening up that lines of communication, teaching him to learn.
Yeah. So I started to walk off to go pick up my other rope, because I brought in another rope in case I needed it, but I didn't. So, and he didn't move his feet, so now I have to say, hey, come on, go with me. And that's where, there we go. Now we go off together.
Okay. There's your first video. You get to